If you're using your inhalers every day, exactly as prescribed, but you're continuing to cough, feel breathless, or wheeze, or even develop nighttime asthma symptoms, one of these common mistakes could be the reason why. Now, as a respiratory physician, I regularly come into contact with patients who tell me that their inhalers are not working, when the fact is that medication might not be the actual problem. In this video, I'm going to tell you the 5 common reasons why your inhalers may not be working, and most importantly, how you can fix it right now. I would also tell you the 1 common mistake that would dramatically reduce the amount of medication getting into your airway, which is why it's important to listen to every part of this video. So stay with me until the very end, because there are tips and nuggets in this video which I genuinely feel will help you manage your asthma symptoms better. The last reason is the one that most patients may not have heard about, which again is important for you to listen to. Welcome to Breathe Better with Dr. Nneka. I'm a consultant respiratory physician, and I help you understand your lung health better, manage your asthma symptoms, and most importantly, breathe better every single day. Now let's get right into it. The 5 reasons your inhalers may not be working. Number 1, incorrect inhaler technique. Sounds simple, right? So this is one of the leading causes of poor asthma control. Now many people may have been using their puffers or their inhalers for very many years and many decades, and would assume that they are using it correctly, right? But we know that when people use medications or use any inhalers for a very long period of time, incorrect habits start setting in. And there are clinical studies and evidence that suggest that incorrect inhaler technique is one of the reasons why there is poor asthma control. Now, what most patients don't realize is that they are stuck in what I call the aerosol trap. Now, the medication from this MDI, metered-dose inhaler, comes out at a very high speed. Watch. So there has to be a coordinated breathing technique that is slow and steady for the medication to get into the right place where it needs to get into. If you were to breathe in fast, so the medication will just directly hit the back of your throat, and you will swallow that and it will get into your stomach. So it doesn't get into your lungs where it needs to get to, and it doesn't work. Now, as opposed to the DPI, which is the dry powder. So for the dry powder, now because the dry powder, you need to breathe in deep and fast to be able to release the medication itself. So with the dry powder, you need to remember that you need to breathe in deep and fast. If you were to do it the opposite way, then you don't get the medication itself. Now, the other common mistakes associated with the poor inhaler technique is not making a proper seal around the device itself. Because if you don't make a proper seal around the mouthpiece, the medication will just seep in through. It doesn't get into your airway. It doesn't get into where it needs to do the work itself. Not coordinating the breathing or not breathing deep enough. So when you have the MDI, for instance, you've got to breathe in deep enough, okay? So for the medication to get into your lungs. And actually, you need to be able to coordinate the releasing of the medication and your breathing technique to get the best out of it. Now, how do you fix all this? To be able to fix this, can I ask that you regularly meet with your asthma nurses, your respiratory pharmacist, your respiratory specialist, for them to continue to check your inhaler techniques. They need to check your inhaler techniques when you have your annual asthma review. Unfortunately, if you were to have an exacerbation, they need to check your inhaler technique. So this is something that has to be ongoing so that you don't have bad habits associated with inhalers that gets incorporated. Now, the other thing that might help for some people is the spacer device, okay? Because with the spacer device, the medication is concentrated into the chamber itself. So it takes away that effort of trying to coordinate your breathing, your inhalation. Every medication that you put into this chamber device, you inhale it. So that's something for you to consider as well. This is another example of a chamber device as well, a spacer device that you can use to try and help you get all of your medication into your airways. Okay, so the reason number 2, hidden environmental triggers. So you might just be using your inhaler correctly, or you might be taking all your doses as prescribed. But if you are not aware of those hidden environmental triggers, you will continue to have an asthma exacerbation. Now, the difficulty with these hidden environmental triggers is that you might not even know what they are. But what they do is that they put your lungs into a constant state of irritation, constant state of hyperreactivity, constant state of hyperinflammation. So it is very important that you recognize that the hidden triggers are one of the reasons why your inhalers are not working. Let's look at some of the examples of the respiratory common triggers. So your microscopic house dust mites. Oh, they are very, very tiny organisms, arthropods, that love to stay in a very warm environment, particularly your beddings, your rooms. They don't bite, but they feel release their droppings. And if you were to inhale their droppings, it triggers the airways, irritates the airways. So it is very, very important that you watch out for this. Other hidden respiratory triggers include the pet danders from your household animals, the seasonal pollen pigs, the smoke, cigarette smoking or the secondhand smoking, the spores from the moles from damp areas, air qualities, air pollutions. So these are things for you to be aware of. How do you fix that? I think it's important for you to start recognizing the areas that make your asthma symptom worse. Can you keep an asthma symptom diary? Can you recognize some several patterns in some certain areas? Does your symptom change when you go to different areas in your house? Does your symptom change away from home, at work? Does your symptom change when you go into around certain areas? So it's important to maybe perhaps keep a symptom diary to see if you can recognize the pattern. And that would massively help you to try to, avoid those hidden triggers. Now, the other thing you could do, particularly with the house dust mites, is to try to do weekly bedding cleaning. So wash your beddings every week at a very high temperature, usually 60 degrees centigrade or 140 degrees Fahrenheit, just so you can kill off those, the house dust mites. One other thing you could do is to try and reduce the humidity in your room, reduce it to like 50% less than what it is. And actually, you can ask your asthma nurses or your asthma specialist to see if you're reacting to these house dust mites. So you can do some blood tests and look for these allergens to see which one you're reacting to. Allergen avoidance is one of the ways to try to manage asthma symptoms better. Now let's go to the reason number 3, missing doses. Life gets busy, people forget to take their medications. So that's, that can happen. But there's another set of people who intentionally stop taking their preventive medication because they feel better. Now, what I want you to recognize and realize is that without your preventative medication, your airway will constantly be in a state of hyperinflammation or irritation, meaning that whenever you come into contact with anything that irritates you, suddenly you become very poorly. So taking your preventive medication, even if you feel well, helps to make your lungs feel as well as everybody else. Helps to make your lung feel very resilient, so that when you have like common colds or come into any viruses, it doesn't trigger your airway. You can withstand all that easily. How do you fix this? So some of the things I tend to tell my patients is try to associate your inhalers with something you do in your house, something that is a routine for you. So for instance, brushing your teeth. So we can put your inhalers around your toothbrush. So whenever you come to brush your teeth first thing in the morning or last thing at night, you can take your inhalers. So it doesn't need reminding. So it's there staring you in the face. Another thing you could maybe do is to set an alarm. Set an alarm to remind yourself to take your inhalers. Just something to have a constant routine so you don't miss any of those medication. Now, sometimes some people put their inhalers around their breakfast table or their dinner table. It's just that constant reminder for you to use your inhalers, because as long as you use those medication in the correct dose, it should help you to relieve your asthma symptoms. It should help keep your airways under control. Reason number 4, overlapping condition. Something else may be contributing significantly to your uncontrolled asthma symptom and is a crucial clinical fact. Now I want you to recognize that not every wheeze, every cough, every breathlessness is due to asthma. There are several medical conditions that can mimic asthma, and it is important to recognize them when present. Now, some of those medical conditions include things like acid reflux, for instance, or gastroesophageal reflux disease, for instance. This is where the stomach acid content travels via the esophagus or the food pipe and irritates the airways, triggering chronic cough. So you see, that's something for you to look out for with your healthcare professional to see if that's what's causing your chronic cough. Now, the other thing that might mimic asthma is what we call, chronic rhinitis or sinus disease. And in this condition, people can have post-nasal drip, where secretions goes back from the back of the throat, directly hitting into your airway. And it would also cause chronic cough as well. Okay. Now, the other condition that might also present similarly and mimic asthma would be also what we call the vocal cord dysfunction. So in vocal cord dysfunction, your vocal cord mistakenly suddenly closes during inhalation, mimicking an asthma attack. Now, the anxiety related breathing difficulties or hyperventilation episode as well can equally mimic an asthma attack. Now, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease is another one, but this is also seen in much older people, especially people that would have smoked. So it is very important to recognize that there are other medical conditions that might also contribute to uncontrolled asthma, not because they are the cause of the asthma, but because they are the main reason why you're feeling the symptoms you're having, not necessarily because of asthma. So if your asthma remains uncontrolled despite good adherence, despite using your medications regularly as prescribed, despite not missing any dose, it will be important for you to discuss openly with your healthcare professionals. Have a wider physiological look. Do you need more diagnostic testing? Do you need more specialist review? To have a thorough overlook to see if there are any other overlapping conditions contributing to your uncontrolled asthma symptoms, making your inhalers not to work. Because if you have these other medical conditions that is not related to asthma, the inhalers will never work. You see, you will need some other treatments, but not necessarily the inhalers. So reason number 5, uncontrolled asthma symptoms, poorly controlled asthma symptoms, difficult to treat asthma. It's quite really sad to see when patients have adapted their everyday life around their chronic breathing difficulty, accepted the new normal of their breathlessness. So it's quite really sad. But let's recap about the things that can make you recognize that your asthma is uncontrolled so you can actually get more help. So if you're using your brain inhaler more than 3 times a week, if asthma is limiting your everyday activity, or you avoid exercise because of your breathing, if asthma is waking you up at night, if you've had one exacerbation, I want you to start asking the questions. Speak to your healthcare professionals. Apart from these inhalers, apart from this medication, are there anything else? Have you heard of something called the asthma biologics? So these are targeted treatments that switches off that part of your immune system that drives asthma inflammation. It probably is important to speak to your healthcare providers about this, because there will be a segment of asthma patients that would really require the asthma biologist to help them control their asthma symptoms. So regardless of all the treatment they've had, they might just need this extra specialist treatment for them to be able to have control of their asthma symptoms. So to wrap everything up, if your asthma doesn't seem to be working, please don't immediately assume the medication itself has failed you. Take a step back and consider the 5 core possibilities we covered today. Number 1, incorrect inhaler technique or device mix-up between MDIs and DPIs. Number 2, missing daily preventer doses, allowing inflammation to slowly return. Number 3, hidden environmental triggers, keeping your lungs constantly irritated. Number 4, another medical condition mimicking your asthma symptoms. Number 5, poorly controlled baseline asthma that simply requires a professional medical review to see if you'll be eligible for this newer asthma medication called asthma biologic. The wonderful news is that almost all of this problem can be easily identified and corrected with the right clinical guidance. Now, I would absolutely love to hear from you. Which of the 5 reasons surprised you the most? And have you been caught in any of those mistakes before? I would really love to hear your own personal experiences in the comment section. Now, if you found this video helpful and you really want to learn about your lung health, please consider subscribing. Give us a thumbs up and turn your notification button on because I post a video every week. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video.